how would you describe the atmosphere within the group? You guys are, of course, already had activity in the CONCACAF Campeones Cup, but now focusing on the new MLS season. Does the level of excitement and the goals and the expectations that are always high in this club?
Yeah, there is always a lot of excitement ahead of a new season. We know by experience that it's going to be a long season, and we need all the players involved, committed and ready to help the team and to make the team even better. We know also that we're going to face difficulties through the season, and we have to make ourselves ready, to challenge all the team in front of us. So so step by step we have to find the consistency in terms of performance and get a good rhythm in the league. Obviously there is the Champions Cup, and this is a different competition, and we have to make sure that we go to the next round.
A lot of new faces. How much has the team changed in terms of the style of play or what's expected on the field compared to what we saw last season?
Well, I believe that last season one of our main strengths was the direct attack. We were really good in offensive transition, and but at some point, it probably affected the team, because you have to make your team even more balanced, manage games even better with and without the ball, and I probably think that this season hopefully will be more complete and be ready to adapt to any type of games, any type of opponent, and with and without the ball. Obviously the addition of Igor and Mark will help us, to be more aggressive in the middle of the pitch, and also to add, some technical ability. So yes, I believe that the most important thing is to make ourselves ready, especially the mindset, ready to compete, and then the rest will follow.
A different topic a little bit, just Pochettino mentioned that he talked to you before joining the U.S. men's national team. Are you guys still in contact? Or
Of course.
How were those conversations like when he was trying to figure out how soccer in the United States is?
No. I think he's really enjoying his experience as a national team manager. We know it's still a long way, but for sure he will make the team ready for the next World Cup. That's the biggest challenge ahead of him. But there is also the Nation League. That is an opportunity to get a trophy. They're gonna play the semi-final in LA. The first leg. So I think it will be an opportunity for me to see him and to see all his coaching staff. We have a great relation, and obviously we are still in touch, busy on all sides, but this is a friendship, that will stay with us for the rest of our life. Yeah.
You can go to SoFi to a game.
Hopefully, if I need to check the schedule, but I would love. Yeah.
Do we have any questions on Zoom? Please raise your hand. Yes? Okay. Josh Gross, please go ahead.
Thank you. Hugo, nice to see you again. How would you compare your frame of mind and your readiness to play this season compared to coming in last year? Obviously, fresh, you don't know the league, you don't know the players, but you have the experience now. How much of a difference does that make for you in season 2?
Sorry, I missed the start of your question. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah, personally, just wondering how you feel this season compares, the start of this season for you personally compares to last year.
Yes.
Very different circumstances coming into season 2.
Yeah, well, for me, last season was something new, and I was discovering a lot of new things, even after 18, 19 years in the professional football. I will say that today I have this year of experience in the MLS, and it makes me even better, so I know the way to follow. and also I need to make sure that I'm ready for myself, for the team, but also look around me and make sure that everybody is ready to help the team, ready to compete. We want to have a really good season. We want to enjoy our football, and so there is a lot of challenges in front of us, and and we want to enjoy the competition.
And for you last year, how would you look at your performance overall, and what are some of the areas that you feel like you're very comfortable and you feel good coming in, and maybe some areas where you feel like you have some work to do?
Well, the most important thing for me is to maintain a certain level, and that's what I'm going to look for this season. Obviously, there is this responsibility as a senior player to guide, the young players around me, bring this experience, and then I will say that everything was new last year, especially when you arrive to the playoff. It's a new competition. Even if I said it, to experience it is it's a different thing, and I would say that a season is even longer than what I used to experience in my career. So there is time, it's 10 months, 11 months of competition, and the key is to keep the consistency, but also to make sure that you are up there at the right moment.
Thank you.
Hugo, of course, you know Olivier so well, and he came in the middle of the season, and now having that preseason under him, of course, like for a striker, you're always expecting the goals. Just knowing him so well, how have you seen his progression and him like preparing for that this year?
Yeah, I believe it's never easy to arrive in a new group of players and a new team in the middle of the season. But like you said, he has had this pre-season with us, and he has more reference, inside and the training room, and also on the field. That is the most important thing. And I think it is going to be well. Obviously, it's a long season, a lot of games, so there will be some rotation, obviously. But I still believe that he's going to score some important goals for the team, and he still have this ambition to compete, to fight, and yes, and I think he wants to improve his personal stats. That's normal. He's a striker. He wants to score. He wants to assist, the players around him. And but I think he's good and ready for the challenge.
Did it make you feel warmer when you score a goal in those conditions?
Did not, unfortunately. No, I don't think anything was thawing us out in those moments.
That was a very nice play. Was that kind of something you worked on?
No, that was just Denis doing his thing, getting open, and I think from that positioning where he was, it was pretty obvious that he was going to cross it. So I think a couple guys in there kind of made some runs, and it fell to me. So a big away goal for us, definitely. But yeah, just Denis kind of creating something for us.
Steve was just talking about the process of choosing a captain, and he's observing how you guys are on a daily basis, how you talk to the team, step up and be a leader. Just what does that mean to you now, getting to have the armband and be that leader for this team?
Yeah, it's great. I feel like since I've been here, there's been so many veteran leaders, and still now there's so many veteran leaders within the group. It's a shared responsibility that a lot of us take on. For me to wear the armband is great, and it's a great responsibility, and it's an honor. But yeah, there's a lot of us in this locker room that are leaders.
What is that process for you in terms of when times get tough and you have to roll up your sleeves and talk to the group, or like lead by example? Like, what's your process?
Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna change. I think it's just the process that I've been going through, and everyone has their ways of dealing with things and dealing with adversity and speaking with the group, and I have my way, and of course the coaching staff likes that, and the team responds well to it. But yeah, there's no playbook that I go by. It's kind of just what I feel in the moment and what I feel needs to be said, I guess.
The schedule is what it is. This is where Champions Cup falls. But is it good to have kind of this many games early in the season to get going? Does that kind of get you into it a little quicker?
Depends. It definitely gets the ball rolling fast. But it depends. Yeah, it depends on how well the roster holds up, the fixtures, what time the schedules are, travel, the types of games. I don't think our travel back from Colorado was the most ideal with our plane being frozen and all that. So, it all just depends. But, again, I think a really clear positive is that there's going to be a lot of rotation going into, this early part of the season. Naturally, there's just so many games. So a lot of guys are going to be able to kind of get their feet wet and get in the starting 11 and show what they can do and hopefully build confidence into the later part of the season. We can use everyone.
Minnesota decided to go get Yeboah in the window, before this one, so he had time to develop, establish himself last year. What kind of player is he?
He's talented. He's dynamic. He's dangerous, man. He can beat you off the dribble. He's really fast. He's got a lot of speed. He's a good finisher. Yeah, he's a really complete player for his age. He's a guy we got to keep an eye on. Yep.
All right. Do we have any questions on Zoom? Yep. All right. Josh Gross, go ahead.
Thank you. Aaron, on the captainship, obviously something you're familiar with. You were captain of Red Bull and you've worn the armband for the U.S. men's national team. What do you, from your experience, what do you think makes a good captain? What does that role require?
I don't know. Authenticity, just being yourself out there, being a guy that players can look at and kind of know what they're going to get. Having some dependability, taking responsibility for certain situations, and I think holding guys accountable to a certain standard.
And that's something you relish, just by the sound of your voice and the way I've heard you talk about it. That's what it seems like. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the MLS instituted a new rule where only captains can address referees this season. How do you see that playing out, and what do you make of that rule change?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I speak to the refs quite a bit anyways. I feel like I have decent relations with them, so it's not going to change anything on my end because I'm the one that gets to speak to them. But I'm sure they're going to like it because more players aren't going to be talking to them, so I can understand why they're going to do it. I also don't think in those moments anything's going to change. Most of the time it's guys pleading for something or hoping that, wanting a call to go a different way. But in that moment, you're not going to change the ref's mind. Like, they're never going to just hear you out and be like, you know what, I think it is your ball instead. So, yeah, for me, it doesn't change anything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Home opener tomorrow in the MLS season. How do you go about it? Do you write down a list of goals, or what level of excitement when it's just a clean sheet and how the whole season ahead?
Yeah, the excitement's there for sure. There's just a lot of build-up from the off season and finally getting into the MLS season. No overall big goals right now. I think as a group we're kind of taking it one game at a time. I know we have 3 home games coming up in a row, so I think just to start this next stretch off now with a win at home to start the MLS season and hopefully have that build some confidence and carry over into Tuesday would be fantastic. So that's our only goal right now is getting a win, getting a result.
One more in terms of the new guys, most of them have experience in MLS, have been in MLS. How much does that help in terms of them adapting to the team quicker and just knowing what to expect?
It helps a lot, yeah. I think as we can see, there's a little bit of a lag or a time period when players come from different leagues or overseas and have to deal with their visas and move their families. So the fact that we can hopefully get guys in here that have been with the league and are a little bit more comfortable, hopefully it bodes well for us. Yep.
Eduardo, go ahead.
Hey, Eric, thank you for your time. Any games specifically you're excited for? Maybe the rematch versus Seattle, Galaxy, or the new San Diego FC? How does it feel having another team in California, another rival team? Thank you.
There's a ton of teams that I'm excited for, man. It's like the longer you play in this league, the more storylines you have within yourself or more players that you know on other teams. And there's so many fixtures that I'm excited for. As when the schedule comes out, you circle a couple of them definitely. Too many to kind of go individually, but yeah, there's definitely some big ones coming up. And on San Diego, yeah, it's exciting whenever you get a new team in the league to see what their style of play is going to be like. You know, who's going to be their their main leaders, their main players. You know, we have a new coach over there in San Diego, and the fact that they're within California now, we have 4 teams in Cali. It's just going to create some more rivalries and some more big games, which everyone loves.
Marlon, ¿cómo ha sido el proceso para ti de adaptarte al equipo e iniciar esta nueva temporada?
Bueno, ¿responde en español o en inglés? ¿Español? Bueno, nosotros sabemos que es una temporada muy larga, ¿no? Pero tenemos también en la cabeza la importancia de cada partido para el campeonato en el final. Por supuesto, tenemos mucha ambición para lograr los éxitos de esta temporada, pero sabemos también que tiene sus fases, sus etapas. Con paciencia y mucho trabajo podemos lograr. Entonces tenemos esta ambición y estamos preparados mentalmente, físicamente para todo el obstáculo que tiene en esta temporada.
¿Cómo ha sido ahora sí poder tener una pretemporada con el equipo?
Mejor, porque así te condicionas, ¿no? Yo el año pasado llegué y ya estaba en el medio de la temporada. Sabemos que no es fácil, pero pasa con muchos jugadores. Bueno, ahora poder empezar y acoger la identidad del equipo, la filosofía del entrenador, cómo funciona la mentalidad es más fácil, pero creo que todos juntos podemos hacer cosas nuevas este año, vivir momentos únicos. Es lo que deseamos y trabajaremos para esto.
¿Cómo ha sido ver tantas caras nuevas para este año, incluido Igor, que supongo eso ayuda también que te tenga él a ti aquí y que puedan hablar?
Sí, en portugués. Entonces, hablando de Igor, yo estoy muy contento, de verdad que, bueno, sabemos que estamos en otro país, pero aquí también todos me cogieron muy bien. Yo me siento en casa por todos y él también. Bueno, hablo por él porque me ha dicho que está muy contento y bueno, está junto con él y los demás compañeros. A nosotros le da mucho gusto. Sí, es ahora juntar toda la mentalidad del equipo y poner nuestras mejores características para afuera y ayudar en la idea del entrenador para ir adelante. De nada.
All right, we're going to move on to Zoom. Daniel, go ahead.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes, saludándote. Quería preguntar, iniciando preguntándote, con tantos cambios que se han hecho en el equipo, tú como jugador de la temporada pasada, ¿cómo ha cambiado el estilo futbolísticamente de lo que les pedía Steve la temporada pasada como que quiere aplicar para esta?
Bueno, sabemos que el club ya tiene una mentalidad, una filosofía y nosotros, yo estoy de la temporada pasada también, pero soy nuevo y cogemos la mentalidad que ya tenía y así nos adaptamos dentro de la filosofía del entrenador y del club. Y bueno, para crecer juntos y lograr a llegar a los éxitos juntos. Sabemos que es difícil, pero posible porque toda la estructura, las personas te hacen más fácil esta adaptación. Entonces, sí, ahora juntos estar unidos para que podamos lograr grandes momentos este año.
Y obviamente otra de las cosas que identifica este club es la afición. Tú ya lo viviste la temporada pasada, una afición muy apasionada. De la forma que se terminó la temporada para el equipo, la temporada pasada, ahora se viene obviamente una nueva temporada. La afición sigue emocionada por querer seguir apoyando al equipo, pero no se les olvida eso. Tú desde la interna, ¿qué mensaje le mandas a la afición para esta temporada?
Bueno, que juntos en el momentos de felicidades y en el momento de dificultades estemos juntos para lograrmos los objetivos para esta temporada, y sabemos que la afición es el 12º jugador, entonces tener el apoyo de ellos es muy importante, y nosotros de aquí recibimos todo el afecto, todo el cariño que ellos transmiten para nosotros, y somos muy agradecidos por esto, y la mejor manera de agradecer es dando el mejor dentro de campo para ellos y conquistando victorias para llegar a los títulos. Y bueno, el mensaje es que juntos nosotros podemos lograr grandes cosas.
In general, it's so early in the season, obviously, so it's not like schedule congestion, but is there thoughts of a little bit of rotation, or is it kind of relatively easy in that sense since it's so early in the season?
I'd say the answer to your question is yes and no. There's certainly thoughts to everything and all possibilities. Whether or not we do it always depends on the freshness of players and how you recover from games. So we always have to wait until post-game and then post-travel to see how guys recovered. For the most part, we recovered very well from Colorado, which was great to see. So for me as a coach, that means I have all options on the table.
Steve, how do you approach a new season? How is it for you personally? Is it like the level of excitement? Do you write down goals, or how is that process for you?
Excitement for sure. We had a little bit of a season opener with Copa America, which was great to see the fans again come out in such strong numbers. But tomorrow's a little different. Tomorrow, the result means something more than just pride, and we're eager to present ourselves in a good fashion and to get a W. I think that's really important for our fans. And yeah, who's ever been to BMO understands the atmosphere. And if you're not excited about tomorrow, then you probably shouldn't be going.
In terms of the new guys in this past few weeks, how have you seen them just adapt to the team and the style of what you want them to do on the field?
Very well. I've been very pleased with the progression of the input we've been able to give guys and the application of that. It started small and simple to move forward to bigger and more complex ideas. So in a 5-week period, it's getting a lot of information out there and putting it to the test. And I was very happy with the progression of preseason. I was happy with our performance in Colorado. Obviously not with the result, but that can happen in those conditions. That's just part of this game that we have to accept and try to fix that next Tuesday. But I think we're in a good spot, especially from our newcomers. They've learned a lot and adapted and look like they've been playing here for a couple of years.
A little bit more on that in terms of the newcomers, the fact that the core of that group, they have been in MLS and they have that MLS experience. Does that make it a little bit easier?
I think players who have not been at LAFC but have faced LAFC come certainly with an idea. But until you on the inside learning and finding out what it's really about, I think it's always a little different. But as far as adaptation and the speed of adaptation, I haven't seen any issues with that. Maybe it is an advantage, yes, coming from an MLS squad.
We will move on to Zoom. Josh Gross, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, Steve. Just a couple questions from me. How did you settle on Aaron Long as captain, and what goes into a decision like that?
I think every coach is different in their approach. I've been a part of teams and rosters the players decide. They vote and they decide. I've been part of rosters where coaches just decide. In our case, I do a lot of observing, and things kind of naturally happen. And so, in a sense, the team decides, who are their leaders, and Aaron is one of them. And then the coach just has to decide who puts the armband on, and that's as simple as that. And so it's just a period of observations that come to a conclusion, an obvious conclusion, and I'm the one who just kind of puts that into words, if you will.
Is that something that you're looking for throughout the preseason with the group? Do you know it when you see it? Like, how does that decision sort of come to you in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Let things play out and observe, and that's certainly one of the goals of preseason, to find and create a clear hierarchy on the team, as far as leadership goes, and to be well balanced, to make sure everybody's included, everybody has a voice, but also to understand that when things are not going well, who is going to speak up and who is going to roll up their sleeves.
Real quick on the captain
What do you
thing.
expect to have the new designated player available for you, and what do you think he'll bring to the team?
That's a question for immigration. I have no idea. But we expect a prolific attacker, and he has proven that in every club he's been at. And we're very excited to bring him in, a player who really wants to be here, which is also an added plus for us, and who's done a lot to get here. And so hopefully immigration does their part.
Real quick
Thank
on the
you.
captain thing, you were not a player who hassled the refs too much. Do you like, though, the thought of just the captain speaking to the referee about stuff on the pitch that they're talking about?
I think it's a clever rule. Yeah, I actually do. I do think it's a very good idea. I also believe, and I've known this for a long time, there's nothing you can say to a referee that's going to influence his decision, or specifically the decision that was just made, which is what the discussions are about. So I actually think it's a great rule. Looking forward to the effects, because it allows us players, sorry, not us, it allows the players to focus on what they're supposed to do, which is the next play, and just forget what happened and move on. So I'm hopeful that this will do a lot for the game and keep players focused for the entire 90 minutes.
All right, Eduardo, go ahead.
Yes, hey coach, thank you for your time. I know it's still early, but you had a good performance against America, and you got one back in Colorado, which looked like a very difficult game for LAFC as expected. How do you measure where the team is at going into the season? Thank you.
There's multiple ways to measure the team's success. You can just do pure results in preseason, which is not the smartest, I don't think. I think if you look at performances, they gradually got better each week. So I think that is a better indicator. And that's how we do it. We look at performances and certain objectives we give the players before the game. Did we hit those or did we not hit those? For the most part, we were successful in that rate. And so I would say, after Club America, we felt good where we're at in preseason, but we certainly weren't at 100% yet. And like I said, the game in Colorado is a tough one to really measure. I think our fitness looked fine, the mentality looked great. I think our ideas tactically, as best as we could apply those on that field, looked fine too. Really, we just came up short in 2 or 3 plays. That's it. And so I'm not using that game or judging the team by that result. Tomorrow is important, but tomorrow we would like to perform well and try to tie the two together, performance and result.
Andy, go ahead.
Thank you, Hasty. Good to see you looking a little warmer than the other day. Just a few for me on 2 players, specifically on Igor Jesus and on Eddie Segura. On Igor, just the limited that I've seen of him in the preseason, looked like he's fitting pretty well this year. Thoughts on how he's acclimated. And then Eddie Segura, obviously been a long road back from injury and trying to get acclimated with the team. And do you see that more? What have you seen his progression? Do you see him more as a starter or more of a rotational back there with a few options at center back?
Yeah, I mean, the schedule will demand rotations, and it was only 5 subs, and so some players have to play more than others. He came in preseason in great shape, and confirmed that with consistent performances throughout preseason matches, and deserved to start in Colorado and against Club America, and he's done very well. And so Eddie continues to be an important player in our roster, like all of the other center backs. And Igor, sometimes I forget how young he is, but he plays like a mature number 6 with a lot of patience and cleverness and aggressiveness, and he brings some more mobility that we were looking for. So he's a great example of when you go out in off season and you're looking for a certain player and profile, and we define those profiles very specifically. That John, his team with Neil and scouts and data went out and found exactly what we were looking for. And we've been very happy with Igor so far.